All right, everybody, welcome out to another Windshield Time episode. I'm Joey. I'm here with Brandon, our CEO, Spencer Shorts, our producer. Today, we are finishing up our series on our three uniques at the company. We started with being locally invested, followed by employee-owned. Today, we are talking about being relationship-focused. Again, these three uniques are something that you can rip off real fast for somebody. If they ask you what makes your company different than somebody else's company, you can just blast off those three uniques along with our core values, and that should tell them enough background to either get them to leave you alone or get them to ask you some really better questions. So it's a good conversation starter or ender, depending on what your goal is. So today we're talking about being relationship focused. This is kind of twofold for me. We're relationship focused outside the doors, obviously. You know, we do a lot of things to strengthen our relationships with our customers, with marketing incentives, with engagement events, Peaks Rewards trips. We do a lot of things to make sure that we're focusing on the relationship that we're selling through. You know, we build relationships and then we sell to the relationship that we built. So that's one aspect of it. But I think you and I both agree that the other aspect, and maybe even more the important aspect, is we're relationship focused inside our doors. We focus on making sure that our relationships are strong between the departments, that they're cohesively talking to one another, that everybody's working well together, they're all rowing in the right direction, and that we take our time to build a relationship with those around us. Is that kind of where you're at too?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I actually say there's three.
Okay.
No, but I think your two hit them.
Yeah.
And this is kind of interesting because we've heard each other talk about them, but I don't think we've ever really
Focused on them?
I don't think we've ever had like
Or
this,
dissected them?
Yeah, this deep of a conversation about it.
Mm-mm.
We've heard each other talk about them in bits and pieces, and we talk about them when we're in front of employees. But I think your two are basically the same. There's three groups that we have relationships with. It's the customers, you know, and I love when I get out in front of employees, it's like, what do you think this means? And the number one answer is, oh, it's customers. And then, okay, what else? There's more relationships with who? Vendors.
Yeah.
And so then you get that one. And then the last one is, you know, that's the seldom one that I get, but it's ourselves.
Yeah.
It's that internal that you're talking about. And so, you know, I look at it first, you know, customers is the easy one to recognize, I think, for a lot of people, because we're in the customer service business.
Sure.
And, you know, Joey, you talked about it. There's a lot of different ways that we go about making sure how we do that, from different events to different activities to, you know, assigning salesmen to certain groups or certain companies, things of that nature. We are relationship around that. That is probably the core one, and that's the easiest one to identify because there's so much that we do that's focused towards that relationship.
Right.
A lot of the relationships, you know, with the vendors, I think that's a huge one that we often don't talk about or we don't recognize. And I think that that might be because it doesn't necessarily affect all levels within our company.
True.
But it affects a lot of levels in our company. And there's multiple groups that interact with our vendors. But it's so important for us to be able to have that relationship with them because it's beneficial for both sides.
Absolutely.
You know, as we talk to vendors, we look at profitability. There's a story that I think I've maybe shared on here, but I remember I was sitting with Brent Anderson one time, our previous CEO, and sitting across the table, we're negotiating with a vendor, things of that nature, and he's kind of hammering them, getting them to come down on stuff and things of that nature. And I was the finance guy, the CFO, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you know, we're going to be more profitable. We're going to get this for cheaper. And I mean, that's kind of the mentality that you have of, well, you know, you should benefit us. And he, at the very end, he said, I have one question for you. Is it profitable for you, this deal? And they're like, well, yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. I want to make sure that you're making money too, because you need to make money in this deal. And for me, you know, it's probably not meaningful to anybody else, but for me, it made me take a step back and say, whoa, hold on a minute. What was that? What just happened there?
Right.
It has to be profitable for you. And then you start thinking about that and dissecting, and it's like, well, if it's not profitable for them, then they're not going to be in business. Then we don't have this great service provider or vendor for us. Man, what does that mean? Then we have to have someone else. And so then you just start thinking about, and there's a lot of companies out there, AKA Walmart, that, man, they put the screws to their vendors, and I don't think they really care about if they're profitable or not.
Or Amazon.
Yep, they're just looking at their numbers, and this is what you're going to do for me. And it was just a different perspective to say, wait a minute, why are we worried about our vendors?
Yeah.
And that happened years ago. And for me, that was very meaningful. That was a moment in time, that an experience that I had that just, it morphed and it shaped who I am today.
Yeah.
To where when we talk to vendors, I really have that mentality now of, wait a minute, is this good for you? Because I want to make sure it's good for you. I want to make sure that you can put food on your table too.
Yeah.
Because if you can't, then honestly, they don't want to do business. And then I often talk to our employees, or, when we mention this, these relationships are so important, because think of a great example is the pandemic.
Yeah.
When we were in the pandemic, Joey, you and I both know vividly that we expanded.
Yeah.
In this pandemic.
Right.
We expanded into Idaho, and we opened up 3 branches during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And this was during a time that there was allocations from our vendors.
Yep.
And when you go and you say, well, wait a minute, you're getting less than what you got last year, and you're going to go open up 3 stores.
Yeah.
How did we do that? It's because of the relationships we had with our vendors, because when we told our vendors, this is what we're doing,
they supported us.
Yeah. And then you started saying, well, wait a minute. Well, I can take a little bit from here, and I can take a little bit from here, and I can from our competitors.
Yeah.
And they started giving us their allocation.
The pie is only so big.
Exactly.
And if you can get a few more bites out of that pie because of your relationship, that's what it's all about.
Yep. And so expanding, I don't think we wouldn't have been able to expand into Idaho during the pandemic if it wasn't for the relationships that we had built and the trust that we had built with our vendors.
Yeah, for sure not.
And so then the last one is that internal with each other. You talk about from the logistics to operations side, making sure we're all getting along, we're rowing in the same direction, things of that nature. I think it's, I agree with you on that one. And then a step more, we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
This is our company. We talked about that in that last episode. This is our company. I'm in it to help you. You're in it to help me and to help everybody. That's what it's all about. And really what it comes down to, how I kind of view that is, we're really family.
Yeah.
And people hear me talk about that. And I think, some of you might think that I'm just kind of cheesy thinking that. No, I really do view this as a family.
Yeah.
Because how we go to business and how we take care of each other, it's kind of how you would do it for your own family, for your own siblings, for your parents, for your kids, things of that nature. I know that for me, at least, that's how I look at it, is I will give you the same amount of sacrifice that I would for my family.
Well, waking hours, you spend way more with the people that you work with than you do with your family. So I think it's sometimes the relationships, unfortunately for your family, your relationships at work kind of build faster.
Yeah.
You invest a lot more time in the relationships at work if you're working closely with somebody than you do even with your own family members.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's good for the company. It may hurt you on the family side sometimes.
You got to be careful.
Right. You got to find that balance.
Yep.
But yeah, you got to be focused on that relationship also.
Amen.
You were talking about vendors that, Brent did that several times, after you would negotiate, hey, is this fair for you? Because we're not going to here to take advantage of you. Bob Rasmussen did it, and I witnessed him doing it too. And so same as you, I've taken that into what we do. In fact, last week, you and I had been involved with doing something with the Maverick Center, who's maybe not necessarily a traditional vendor for us, but that relationship for us is huge.
Yeah.
To be able to take customers and employees to events at the Maverick Center is massive. And working on a program with them, we went back to them and they chopped a huge chunk off of their first price that they sent us. And so when I called them back and said, hey, we want to do this, my next thing that I said was, does this work for you guys? Because that's a big number that you chopped.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, absolutely. That's going to work for us because we believe in Mountainland and we don't want to do this with any other company other than Mountainland. And you guys, you'll all see what that kind of big thing is that we did with them in the coming months. I mean, it's going to be
fun.
It's going to be awesome. But, because they believe in us, they didn't want to offer that to anybody else. And so that's just because we've been relationship focused with them for a very, very long time. That's a relationship that we've built. I mean, personally, I've been involved in it for 11 years.
Yeah.
So it's because of all those efforts and because you stay consistent with being relationship focused, then the benefits come off years down the road. And that's James Calvert loves to say, you can kill a sheep once, but you can shear it every year. And that's the way that we go to market with customers. We don't want to just kill the sheep and get it once. We want to shear the sheep every year. We want to consistently get business from you. So we're not going to take advantage of you. We're not here to make money on one project and then dip out and leave the market. We're not here to come in and take one project and then leave.
Dip out.
Dip out.
Oh my God.
That's for all you youngsters out there.
Dip out. Thank you.
For you one youngster. That's for Shorts. He appreciates that.
I understood.
So we don't want to just do that and take advantage of a situation, because we can. We're big enough that we can take advantage of people, but that's even more reason to be careful with what we do and be more relationship focused, because the things we can do and we're capable of, we should be respectful of it. So,
by the way, just because we have a relationship doesn't mean that we can't be profitable.
Right.
We still be profitable.
No.
That's
even
not
more reason.
That's
right?
not what you're saying. I know that.
No, that's even more reason. Like I've been told by customers the same thing. Joey, are you making money on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm making money on it, because, sometimes those negotiations get pretty heated, and they're pretty, not heated, but they're intense.
Yeah.
It's back and forth, and, cut here, cut here, cut here, cut here. And at the end of it, I've been asked by customers, hey, are you making money? Because you need to make money on this. And the answer is always yes, because we do make money, but it needs to be, those relationships should be to the point where you together are making money.
Agreed.
You together, you and your
one.
plumber are going together to make money. You and your HVAC company are going together, and you're making money as a unit, because you are one. You are one relationship. You're one in that effort. And I think as you build those relationships over time, that's what it becomes.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that you were saying internally. We are one. When we say as one, and we have that as our mantra, we mean that. We mean that, if you go, I go, and we go together. As you're successful, I'm successful, and if you have to take one on the chin, I'm going to be the first one through the door to take one with you.
Yep.
So it's these relationships are not taken lightly on our behalf.
No, they can't be.
No,
they can't be. We see the importance of that, and honestly, going back to the unique, that's what makes us unique in the marketplace.
Yeah,
because of how intense those relationships are and how serious we take those.
Yeah,
and what's really cool is I kind of mentioned this in the last episode, but it's more than just seeing it; it's feeling it.
Yep.
And when you talk like that, when you actually put actions behind those words and you mean it,
yep,
they know it.
It's everything.
They know it. And when you have a sincere concern about them and their well-being and their business and their family, I mean, that goes lengths. And that's with all three different groups for me. It's the customers, the vendors, and personal, with internally.
Yeah.
It's when we have that sincere concern, it goes so far in that relationship building.
Yeah.
And that's how we should try and always do it. And in anything we do.
And be sincere, because people can tell when you're not.
Oh, God. People are so smart.
And they should call you out if you're not sincere. They
Yeah.
should say, yeah, you don't really mean it.
And by the way, I'm not a good liar. I don't know if you guys know this.
Terrible at cards.
I am. I really am. Growing up, I've never been a good liar. So I've learned early on, don't even try.
Yeah.
Just,
it's not worth it.
So basically for me, like when you hear me say something or do something, like that's what I mean.
What you see is what you get.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because I'm not very good at it. Plus, I'm not smart enough to probably keep up with it with a lie and remember what I said. So
yeah, I got enough going on. I don't need to live two different lives.
Serious. So, anyways, but it's such a important thing in our business. It's a unique that we have, and so blessed to have these relationships too.
Yeah, and that goes for everybody that's out there. Every employee, you should work on the relationships with those around you.
Yeah.
And that means that you're kind to one another. That means that you don't take advantage of one another. That means that you help one another out. And I know you guys do because I see it. But if you see somebody who's not, guess what? That's not our culture.
Exactly.
And you need to call that behavior out. And if that person or that group is not doing what we need them to do, we need to fix that, or we need to get it out of here.
Yep.
Because we all work too hard for one another to allow some people to stay here that don't believe in what we believe in.
We don't have enough time.
No,
We don't have
way
enough
too busy.
time. Yep. We don't have enough time in our lives.
And
for that.
we run way too lean to allow somebody to be here taking resources that should be going to somebody else.
Yeah. When there's someone else out there that would be appreciative of it.
Yep, exactly. So stay focused on the relationships, inside the doors, outside the doors, with all those three groups of people. If we do that, we'll stay true to who we are and who we uniquely are, and we'll continue to win.
Amen.
That's it.
Love it.
Okay. Thank you, all you windshield wipers. Love you all. Thanks for spending some time with us, and we'll see you on the next trip.
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.